We're live.
Oh, great. Okay.
So I'm Sara. Welcome to the Amphibian Press Podcast. And today is Kerri Noor. So hi, Kerri.
Hello.
And you're tuning in from Scotland, correct?
That's right. although I don't sound it, but I've lived in Scotland for quite a while, but I haven't picked up the accent.
I have one of those.
Which you can do.
If I just hear someone for like a few minutes, I'll start picking up their accent. So.
Oh, I wish I was like that.
I'm not making So you write in a few genres, but today we're going to chat about your Planet Hyman series. Am I pronouncing that?
That's right. Yeah.
So that's comedic sci-fi, which is awesome. I love that. So tell me a little bit about your first book, which is Rebel Without a Clue.
Well, it's based on. How do I describe? Well, there's another world called Planet Hyman. It's run by women. They got rid of men once they didn't need men to make babies, and then all the men just grew old. They rounded them up, put them in a gym, and they rode stationary bicycles for energy. Then they got too old for that, so then they made them footmen, and they just walk around in these very ancient Napoleon type, outfits. So she just, I'm not very good at explaining this, am I? The leader is called Beryl. They're all quite old women, but they're feisty, and she took a shine to one of the footmen. They discovered a way of holding the energy with a spark plug, and then because she didn't give him an acknowledgement of it, he stole it and ended up on Earth, where she got so. Now, oh gosh, it is awful trying to explain it, isn't it? Now they've got to go down to Earth and get the spark plug back.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It's always awful. It's like writing the book's the easy part. Talking about it.
I know. It is. Writing a synopsis is awful, isn't it?
That's always the hardest. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Now I love the sci-fi for women by women thing that you've got going on. Where did that inspiration come from?
Well, to be honest, I spent years watching, because I'm a real TV addict, but I always wanted to make fun of everything, especially men being heroes. And, like all the action films, and, they're all kind of like men. And also, I just like the idea of older women being more than just what we expect, I kind of I like getting not having stereotypes, because there is a wee dwarf in it, and I don't mean it like that, but on Planet Hyman he's seen as a sex symbol, and they keep, he's just a friend of the robots. So I just like to make fun of everything, really. And I wanted women. I had a vision one day of it. Maybe it would be wonderful if it was on TV or something. I just had this idea of great roles for women after 50, 60, 70, Because, if Sean Connery can do it at his age, why can't women? That's something.
And I mean, you have all these years of wisdom built up. And so many of those, just actresses alone, they're these powerhouses of talent. And then it's like, you just get to be the grandmother, you get to be, the crone.
That's right.
And there's so much more you have to offer, especially the longer.
Yeah, that's right.
Now the second book in the series, Rebel Without a Bra, which I love the title. That's coming soon. So congratulations, that's super exciting. And where does that book take Mex and Beryl, the two?
Yeah, that's it. Well, they're all down on Earth. Mex and Beryl end up down on Earth, and there's a new leader called Hilda, and there's a lot of double crossing going on. So Hilda now is in control of Planet Hyman. She tricks Beryl to go down there. So there's a bit of a chase because they're trying to find Legless, and they kind of think that Legless is at the Edinburgh Festival, and he's doing a show called Johnny Gets Legless. So So there's this kind of like car scenario with the two different groups, with Pete the robot and Mex. And Mex, because she's a superhero on planet Hyman, she comes down to Earth and she loses it all. And so she's kind of like so that kind of, so they end up in Edinburgh Festival. And so there's a third book after that. And then on planet Hyman, the big story is that Hilda takes those in power, which are the voted in, and she puts them at the bottom, and she puts the bottom people, which are the operators that work in a shed, at the top. And so she kind of like mixes things up, if you like. And you think the whole idea is that Hilda starts to topple. So you have a sort of power thing, and then hopefully at the end there's a bit of a leading on to the third book. So I'm right in the middle of the last bit, and I've just got them sort of because I put them in the Edinburgh Festival because the robot looks like a robot. It's gold, and I thought, well, how that would be quite cool, him walking around Edinburgh Festival and everyone thinks he's a performer, and that sort of thing. And he's got a fascination because he's a certain type of robot. He does yoga classes. So he gets fascinated by one of these contortionists in the little box. You know how they go into a little box? I think I did, because I've been to Edinburgh Festival so many times. It's a fantastic, that's an incredible place, So I thought it'd be good fun to put it in the book.
That's awesome. And I love the switch around of, because usually when you have a superhero character, like, for instance, Superman, he's normal on his planet, or at least I think he is. I haven't read Superman.
Yeah.
He's normal on his planet. Then he comes here and he's this powerhouse because he's
right. Yeah.
That flip of she's a superhero on her planet and
now she's just I quite like that. And of course Beryl she was the like the leader, but on Earth she's just the same. She has a sidekick called H2, and so they've lost their power. I quite like that. And and then what do they do then? And so there's lots of that going on, and like there's mind reading and technology answering you back, that sort of thing. And actually everything seems to revolve around a joke. Sometimes I come up with a really good joke, and then I have to kind of dress it up in a really good scene that leads the story on. That's good fun. So I think sometimes some people really like it and they think it's really funny, and others it just doesn't appeal at all. But I think that's the same, isn't it? With hopefully,
I think it's definitely more common with comedy. For it to be such a either you love it or you hate it. But I mean, for every genre, even outside of comedy. Some people just don't get the joke.
Yeah, that's right. Some people just don't want to laugh much. Oh, they want to be I don't know. It's not everyone's cup of tea, is it? Really?
Now, what kind of comedy? Because I mean, there's sci-fi and comedy have long been friends. With Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett. What kind of comedy do you think you lean towards? Is it sort of like the snarky, or is it more of an absurdist, or sort of something else altogether?
I've never been one for slapstick, right? But I seem to write it all the time. I quite like writing funny things. I think it's because when you imagine it, it's funnier, and if you get the words right, it really hit. You get a picture straight away. So I tend to. I suppose it probably is a bit slapstick, although I've never been one for like like the Three Stooges and that. When I was a kid, I hated that. So there's not much hitting, but there is a lot, that sort of thing. I did like, I still do like Terry Pratchett. I think he kind of inspired me a bit because I love the way he writes, So I suppose, but it's also, some people say it's a bit sarcastic or tongue-in-cheek. That's what someone said. So hopefully, your dream is for someone to read it and laugh out loud. If I got that would be me made.
I definitely, I lean towards snarky in my own sci-fi, or at least I try to. It usually ends up getting dark and depressing at some point.
That's a good word, snark.
It matches well. Something about the big grandiose scale of science fiction, and then just like, we're human, we make mistakes, we screw up all the time.
That's right. It's all the little things, isn't it? I think we, like on the big screen, you never see them eating or tripping over or going with the like normal stuff. Yeah. He's a good one. I'm gonna remember that. Snarky.
So do you have a favorite scene or a favorite character in your work?
Actually, I think I like the nasty ones because it gives me a chance to say horrible, like to be really, what's the word, like rude and abrupt and sarcastic. So I think I quite like, I think my favourite is probably Pete the Robot because he reminds me, he's got that kind of like, he's quite sarcastic. But also Hilda because she's just outrageously, like really full of herself. Yeah. And actually I like Hilda because she gives me the chance to really explore all the things I would never say or do myself. There you are, that's it. To like me where she doesn't care. So I can be all those things with her, That's good fun, isn't it?
I think a lot of people think that it's just the readers who use our books as escape. And in a lot of ways, it's like, it's me too.
It's real, isn't it? Because you feel sometimes like you write a scene and it's finished and you feel really good afterwards. You think, I can face the day now. I mean, I don't know. Is that how you feel? You feel kind of like...
Definitely. And I think, the way my schedule works out, I get up and I write first thing in the morning before I go to work, and it just sort of settles things in my brain a bit more. Sometimes it doesn't help much, but it's a step in the right direction. Maybe I complain about my boss or something through one of my characters. So I have a great boss right now. So
good.
So you were born in Australia, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I was born in Melbourne.
Okay. And then you sort of had a life change when you came to Scotland, but also a career change. You, for a long time, you worked as a belly dancing teacher?
Yeah, I used to do, I still do it, but I don't really teach it now. You have to be I did lots of things, but I think in the end what I realized was if you focus on one thing, you actually get more satisfaction and you get better at it. I think that was it. Yeah, I really like belly dancing, and I still do it if people ask. But teaching it's really hard because you get a lot of people, you got to be really good at managing, people. I was always trying to make everyone like me, but in the end they all just, it's impossible. But it's I think it flavours everything I do, to be honest, belly dancing. The only problem is I can't dance any other way now. I always have to, twirl my hips and stuff.
Now, how did that move, both the physical move from Australia to Scotland, and also the career change, how did that influence your writing, or were you not writing at the time?
I think I was always taking notes, reading funny books, and to be honest, I always wanted to make people laugh, and I didn't know how to do it, and I actually didn't think I was funny. That was the problem. I didn't actually think I was funny, so it was a real dream. It's sort of like wanting to be tall when you're born short, really. And I thought that I couldn't be funny, and then I think I started doing the belly dancing and pantomime and different things, and then I started to make people laugh, and I think I wrote funny, you write all different things, and suddenly you hit this voice and suddenly you realize you can, make people laugh through your writing a bit. And then you just keep practicing it a lot and, just keep working at it. But I used to make people, when I was doing the belly dancing, I think people used to make people laugh, So it was just to make jokes about how good it was for, tightening things up and meant you could laugh and not have, all that stuff.
And it's so much easier to make people laugh when you have like an hour to think about the one joke that you're making. So.
Well, it's fun, isn't it? Because people take dancing. I think people should have fun when they're dancing, and it's a great part of being human. But people, the arts is so kind of like snobby now, and people feel that it's something special. But really, if more people were artistic, whatever that was, they would find a happier quality of life, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than we think about dancing as like someone young and gorgeous and perfect, and like learning all the steps, and I could never follow them. And there's dancing, like there's some women I know, they're big and loads are up there. I mean, some of the women I saw, they were quite like in their 60s and amazing dancers, So, and it feels really good,
mm-hmm.
to
express
play with your
pelvis. As I whip my hands around.
And like, you move your pelvis is really important, I think older women are really good at it. I don't know why, but they just throw themselves into it.
So it's that experience thing we were talking about before.
That's right, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The old motor keeps going.
Mm-hmm. So what, as a writer and probably reader of the sci-fi genre, what do you want to see more of? I mean, we talked about having older women as characters and whatnot, but what direction? I feel like the world's kind of at this transitionary state right now.
Yeah.
And I've seen it come through in a lot of books as well. So where would you want to see the sci-fi genre going?
Well, that's a tough question, isn't it? I don't know. I think, that's really, I mean, a lot of sci-fi is quite grim, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's quite masculine? Do you think,
very.
or very masculine, and quite sort of, space is a really scary place, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The unknown, all that stuff. But always it's about exploring the human being, isn't it, underneath it all?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I'd like to see more women, actually, to be honest, wouldn't you? Like more women doing stuff and more women, women's bent on it all. Maybe, that would be nice, women making things and encouraging women to be more than, like expanding themselves, whatever that is. I went to get the car service the other day, and it turned out it was a girl. A little slip of a girl jumped in to give me the bill, and she'd done it. And I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
She isn't used to some bloke. It was so cool seeing it. And we should be making and building things. And should be, like doing all that stuff too. Because it's, I don't know, I think we should be encouraging, don't you? I think
to do
more than.
And I think a lot of women have a different way of looking at the details of the world. I was just talking about this with my partner the other day, actually, and just how there's this level that I think a lot of women see that either isn't as important to a lot more masculine people, or just isn't, maybe they just don't see it. And I think that lends depth and an honesty in a lot of ways. And I think that's one of those things I'd like to see in fiction too, is that different perspective, that slightly shifted reality.
Men, I think because we have a lot to. Men aren't very good at listening, are they, when they're in groups?
Not always, no.
I used to work in a garage years ago, and I think I just remember once there was a group of men and they're all talking about something, and I kept saying, "Why don't you just try the phone, to get context? Why don't you just look them up in the phone book?" This is before computers and that. Or just look at the phone book, and they just carried on. And I said, you could always look in the phone book, you know, like the name of it. They carried on like this. Then one of them said, "Shall we just look at the phone book like this?" Like I don't even think they realised they'd done it. You know,
Right.
Let's do that.
Yeah, they get in this sort of a lot of times in this little insular bubble.
Yeah.
I work in it's fairly equal field, but it's definitely still male dominated. It's a science, and you know, I work as an archaeologist, so it's a very physical job. And it's you see so many times that kind of thing happens, and it's just I know you're trying really hard, but let's just take a minute here and listen to each other. And I mean, I think sometimes it's easy to fall into that too, even as women, because you sort of have to try and compete. And
isn't it? It is hard, you know, and it's hard because you want everyone to like you, and you want to fit in, and you want to say the right thing at the right time, you know, like when you're at meetings or whatever or something. But then you blurt out something, and everyone just looks at you and like, you know. I know, they just look at you. You know, the worst thing to say is, "I actually don't understand what you're talking about." You know, you can't say that, but it's really tough, I think, to keep your integrity when you're working with people, because everyone does tend to follow, you know, everyone else, don't they? A bit.
Yeah, even if it's not what they're even thinking, yeah, it's very easy. I mean, it's hard. Confrontation sucks. So
it's not easy. It's not easy. We're not really superhumans. That's the thing. But every now and then you do something that takes a bit of guts, and that's not easy. And maybe that's what I don't know. I always feel for the little person, really. You know, I think sometimes it's not easy being at the bottom either, is it?
No.
So, well, being an archaeologist, that must really help with your sci-fi, though, does it?
Yeah, I mean, my sci-fi character is definitely probably out of all my characters the most obviously based on myself. I like to think I can control my temper a bit better. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think writing and digging are pretty similar. You're looking for the story, you're looking for what's happening, whether it's in your head or in the dirt. So
it's kind of like sci-fi reverse, isn't it? Archaeology.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
That's amazing. And where do you do it where you are, or do you go?
Yeah, so I live in New England, the northeastern U.S., and I travel sort of all over that area on different sites, and we do work where if there's a big project coming through that requires a lot of funding or permits or whatever, we go first to make sure they're not going to destroy like Native American burials or anything like that, and historic stuff too, but to a lesser degree. So it's important work. It's hard work, and I really enjoy it. I like the nomadic stuff, and studying people makes us better writers, you know?
Yeah, it must do. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely one, like, it's not Indiana Jones. I know you think it is, but it's not Indiana Jones.
He's another one, isn't he? You know,
right, yeah, that big machismo with the
that cool, isn't it? Yeah. And he always pulls a different woman, doesn't he? And they're always like old. They can get older, but the women can't they?
Well, I was happy to see in the most recent one he did go back to his first love.
Oh, that's all right, yeah.
Which was nice, but I think it was more out of fan service than actually being like, oh, well, look, she can do a thing. She's been waiting for him this whole time. Like, she doesn't have anything better to do. So tell me a little bit about your other work, because you know we're focusing on sci-fi obviously, but you also write in a couple of other genres, and you've done, is it a screenplay as well?
I did it was a radio play, and it was it was a while back. It was in Scotland, and it was to do with abusive relationships with women and men. The thing was, I got on this. It was like it was to do with radio and working with other script writers, and they said drama, so I had to make it a drama. And then others put comedy in, so I was quite annoyed. So it was actually a drama, but it was quite good actually. And I got to work in watch it being recorded in the BBC studios in Scotland.
Cool.
So
like a dream.
It was really cool. They said to me, "Oh, do you want to come and watch us record it?" I was like, "Well, yeah." Oh no, I had to. And then they said to me, "Oh, can you change this or that?" And I had to act like I knew what I was doing, and all that stuff. It was amazing. It was like this huge, big Star Trek terminal. Well, a very modern one. It was massive, and actors that were really good. And because at the time I was doing a little bit of radio, community radio, which is just like a little shed. And then you get to do this big thing. It was amazing. So that was like for I'd done a little monologue-y type thing for the police for an ad, and then I got on this thing. So that was, and then most of the other stuff has been like the kind of like, I call it romantic comedy, but it's all older women and stuff, and belly dancing. It's all these stories about women that went to the same belly dancing group, and the main character is a teacher called Nefertiti, but she just gets behaved really badly and just do all the stuff I wish I'd said. And and she has this bag lady that lives in the back of a yard in the end, called the bag lady. And anyway, it's in the local library because I live in a small town, and it's set in that town called Loch Guildford. And the library, so the library, it's got it. And every time I go to the library, someone says, someone will say, like the other day, "I really like your books, they make me laugh," which I thought was really good. And then she said, "I think I've worked out who those people are that you're writing about." I was like, "But I haven't based it on anyone, but people just read into it." You know what I mean? So I think people seem to think it's just characters. Well, it's like when you're writing a story and they just take over. I think most of them are probably based on me, if anything.
Right. Little different pieces of us, for sure.
So, and then I've got 3 books there, and then I've done a few short stories. They're called like the Royal Performer series, and I want to make them into like novelettas, like expand them. But they're all about pantomime and like the royal family and stuff. And just, I suppose you'd call it a parody, I suppose. But I want to make them into about 30 words, 30,000, because I think, it would work better than short stories. And so I'll fix them up.
Too.
Yeah, it's a nice spice side, I think, because I think it's quite hard. A short story is not really sellable, but it's not on Amazon, is it? So I thought if I made them, and so I'll play with them and then do the 3rd book on sci-fi. Then it looks nice. I think 3 is quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah. I always start out with like, oh well, I'm just gonna do like maybe 1 or maybe 2, and then now it's like, oh look, 6 books later. I know it gets away from me.
You get like loads of ideas all the time. They just keep coming, and then you've got to do more, and it's a nice thing though, isn't it?
And I love the idea that you're talking about with all these interconnected characters in this one town and the one teacher, like that just lends itself so well to a serial. That's cool.
It's quite good because I think in a small place everyone knows everyone, and everyone's connected with everyone, and it takes a bit getting used to. Really, you can't make mistakes. Put it that way.
All the consistencies, and it's fun though too, because you can have like this character like George or whatever, and one person might like him and the other person just thinks he's trash, and you get all these aspects of these characters.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
That's fun.
So it's quite good. I like writing in, but what I have to do, I think, is I want to go and maybe send in the 3rd book. Maybe they could go to Australia. I think maybe that'd be fun, and then they would play with the accent and the way they talk there, as opposed to that would be
bring
good
it
fun.
full circle too, you know.
Yeah.
Outer space, now back home.
That's it.
All right. Well, I think that's just about it.
Okay.
If you have any questions for me.
I'm gonna look you up now.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely. I'm looking forward to reading your books in the winter when I've got more time to hack away my reading.
Yeah, I'll definitely look you up.
So your work can be found at kerrinoor.com. But where else online can people find you? I'll have links in the show notes.
Well, I suppose I'm in. That's the main one. I am on Facebook and Twitter, and I suppose LinkedIn, but mainly and my stuff's on sold in all the places and Amazon. Is that any help?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I can get all the links down there. Go stalk you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Would you like me to email them to you? Would you like me to email them to you? The links.
Oh, yes, that'd be fantastic.
I'll do that then.
So this has been the Amphibian Press Podcast, and I'm Sara Boris, and I had Kerri Noor, comedic sci-fi author, with me today. So thank you, Kerri.
Oh, thank you. It's been a great pleasure. Great fun.
Thank you.